Parashat Mikeitz, Tov Shiyem Pai Hai, B'siyata D'Shmaya. First, I want to speak a little bit on the Parashat. Then we're going to speak a little bit on Miat Shem Ahron to Chanukah. Yom Tov Chanukah coming up, approaching us. But before, I just overheard, like how they're saying over here, that Reb Tovi, Reb Yossi, went yesterday to Rashbi in Miron, and they were also by the Tzion of Abaye Verove. So we know that the Gemara is called Havayis da Abaye Verove. The arguments between Abaye and Rove, because the two Amarim that are mentioned the most in Shas are Abaye and Rove. Their arguments on every Aluche, how we should paskin. Abaye says like this, Rove says like this. It's considered, we call Shas Havayis da Abaye Verove. I once saw, I don't remember who, says a gewaltige Zach. What's the Lashon of Havayis da Abaye Verove? He says like this. We know that the Shem of the Eibishter is Yid Kai Vov Kai. Hashem has a lot of names. It's a little bit hard to say, but the Svarim call it Shemu Etzem. A person could have his real name, and then there are names that's also Toyarim, titles. So Hashem has names Elikim, Tzevokois, Shakai, but it's hard to say on Hashem, but Ke'ilu, if you want to say Shemu Etzem of the Eibishter, is Yud Kai Vov Kai, Shemu Etzem. Now this Shem Yid Kai Vov Kai, if you want to write it, Bemilu, meaning to say with all the letters that you pronounce when you say a Yud, and when you say a Hey, so a Yud you write it, Yud Vov Dalet. If you want to say it out, the Yud, yeah, like Aleph is Aleph Lamet Vei, Yud is Yud Vav Dalet. Now the Ois Hey, you could write in three ways. Hey Aleph, if you want to say Hey, Hey Hey, and Hey Yud. Now Vav, you could also write three ways. Vav Vav, that's Vav. Vav Aleph Vav is also Vav. And the Vav Yud Vav. Even though that's not so Vav, but that's how it says in the Zohar HaKadosh, you could write it Vav Yud Vav. Now the other Hey is also like this. So what's going to be the gematria of the Yud Kai Vav Kai? If you make Yud Kai Vav Kai without any milui, only the Yud, Hey, and the Vav and the Hey, then it's 26. 10, 5, 6, 5, it's together 26. But if you make a gematria of the Yud Kai Vav Kai with the milui, so then it depends. If you write it with the Hey, with a Aleph, or with a Hey, or with the Yud in the end, it makes a Raf Gemina. What should be the gematria, the total? So now let's see. There are Lamaise, it's called in the Kabbalah Sforim, 4 gematrias of Yud Kai Vav Kai. It's called Av, Sag, Ma, Ben. Av is I and Beis, 72. Sag is Samach Gimel, 63. Ma is 45, Mem Hey. Ben is 52. And those are the 4 ways how you could write Yud Kai Vav Kai. And let's make the cheshbon. If you write it everything with an Aleph, so the Yud is always Yud Vav Dalet, no other way how to write the milui of Yud, Yud Vav Dalet. But if you make Hey, Hey Aleph, and you make the Vav, Vav Aleph Vav, and you make the last Hey also Hey Aleph, that's called Milu Alfin. You write the Shem Hashem Yud Kai Vav Kai, Bemilu, and wherever you need a suffix, what to put in, you put in an Aleph. Milu Alfin, a side by the Hey, a side by the Vav. So now, Yud Vav Dalet is 20. Yud is 10, Vav is 6, and Dalet is 4. Yud Vav Dalet Bemilu is 20. Hey, if you write it with an Aleph, is Hey Aleph is 6. So it's already 26. Vav Aleph Vav is another 13. So that makes it 26 and 13, 39. Now the last Hey, also Hey Aleph, is another 6, is 45. So we said before, Av, Sag, Ma, Ben, 72, 63, 52, and 45. This is the least one, 45. Why? Because you lose Aleph. So Aleph is the least gematria. Mm-hmm. If you go and you start using Hey, 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 so by the Vav, you don't put in anything. The Vav is only, how do you say it? Vav, Vav. And by the Hey, you put in Hey, Hey. So in that case, you end up to having 52. Why? Yud Vav Dalet is 20, like we said before.
Right.
Hey is 10. Hey it's 30. Vav Vav is 12, is 42. Another Hey is another 10, so now it's 52. So if you make Bemilu Hayin means whatever you have to fill in, you put in a Hay. So by the Vav you can't put in Vav Hey Vav, it doesn't work. So the Vav stays Vav Vav, and the two Hayin have a Hey and another Hey to write the Milu. Then it adds up to 52, yeah? Yud Vav Dalet is 20, Hey is 10, and Vav Vav is 12, so we're up to 42. Then another Hey, we're up to 52. So that's Milu Ben, 52. Now there's another one, that's Sag. By this one we make the Milu with a Yud. Yud Vav Dalet is 20. Hey Yud is 15, we're up to 35. Vav, we go back to without anything, Vav, so that makes it to 12. So we were up to 35, 12 is 47. Now we go 47.
Last 10.
Oh, so it's like, no, by the Vav you put in an Aleph. The Hey has the Yud, and the Vav has an Aleph inside. So Yid Vav Dalet is 20, Hey Yud is 35, Vav Aleph Vav is 30, we're up to 48. Now another time, Ha Yud, so then we have another 15, 38 and 15 is 63. 48 and 15 is 63, that's Sag. Samar Gimel, that's the middle of Samar Gimel. So actually, the both highs you put in a Yud, and by the Vav you don't put in a Yud, you put in an Aleph. Now, then it's 63. Now, the last way how you could write it is where you put in everywhere a Yud. Sai by the Ha you put in Ha Yud, and by the Vav you also make Vav Yid Vav. Mm-hmm. In that way, Yud Vav Dalet is 20. Ha Yud is 15 is 35. Vav Yud Vav is not 12, is 22. 35 and 22 is 57. Then you have another Ha Yud 15, that makes it into 72. That's Chesed. That's the 72, that's called Yud Vav, Yud Kai, Vav Kai, Bemilo Yudin. So by the Sag and by the Av, that means 72 and 63 you use Yudin by the Hey. The difference is if you use a Aleph by the Vav or a Yud by the Vav, so that's the Nafkamin if it's 72 or 63. Those are the 4 Miliyim of the Shem Havaya. Comes the Heilige Rash Mikinen. The Mishnah Berurah brings him down, and the Rash Mikinen says he was a big Mekibel, one of the Rishonim, and he says, after all of my kavonis, I daven like a small child. Only Perish Hamilas. I put aside all of the kavonas that I have, and I only mechaven Perish Hamilas of the words. And he uses the Lashon Rachmana Libeboye. The main thing that Hashem wants is your heart. To not beni lip choli. Not only your mind, give me your heart. Tefillah is called Avodah Shebelev. Ilavde b'chol avavchem. You have to serve Hashem with your whole heart. Now he says like this. If you add up all the 4, Av, Sag, Ma, Ben, we can do it quick. 72 and 63 is together 135. Is that correct? 72 and 63 is 135. You add to that 52, 187. Then you add 45, Ma, 187 and 45 is 232. Is that correct? 232 is the Rosh Tevis. Is if you write it, it's Reish Lamed Beis. What's the Rosh Tevis of Reish Lamed Beis? Rachmana Libe Boye. All 4 tzirufim of Shem Havaya add up to 232, and the Rosh Tevis of Reish Lamed Beis is Rachmana Libe Boye. After all shemus, after all kavonim, after all kavonis, after all tzirufim, Hashem wants from you Poshete Kavana Perish Hamilas. Now, where do I get to Abaye Verove? We know that the Zohar HaKodesh says, Oirai Sekile Shemo de Kitchu Borichi. Every word of Torah is full of shemos. We say Vayehi Mikeitz Shenosayim Yomim, even when it doesn't say Hashem's name, but the whole Torah is tzirufim of Hashem's name. Oirai Sekile Shemo de Kitchu Borichi. The whole Torah is names of Hashem. But not only Torah Shebiksav, also Torah Shebal Peh. We learn Gemara. It's full of Shemus HaKodesh of the Eibishter's names. Now let's make the cheshbon. What's Gematria of Abaye Verove? Abaye, Aleph Beis, Yud Yud. That's 23. Rava is Reish Vav Aleph, 203. So together it's 226. But when you write, you say Abaye Verove. So with another Vav. So you add the 226, another 6, 232. Abaye Verove. That's Havaya is the Abaye Verove. All 4 Tzarifa Havaya you have by Abaye Verove. Havaya is the Abaye Verove. The Shem Havaya, Yud Kai Vav Kai, all 4 ways. By learning Shas, you're being Oisik, and Havaya is the Abaye Verove. So Hashem should help the schis of the tefillas that you daven by Abaye Verove. Bezalum gepoilt alles gits. All tefillas should be answered. Be neskabel berachme meverotz and omein.
Amen. Oh, that was some.
Now we're going to start the parsha. Parashat Mikeitz. I'm going to go more to the end of the parsha. Mamish, by the end of the parsha, when the brothers of Yosef come back, and Yosef calls them and he tells them, I want to eat with you together. The pasuk says that Yosef sat them out how they should sit by the table. They sat for him, for Yosef, the elders one according to their old elderness, and the younger ones according to their youngerness. That's how the pasuk says. Now, what's the pshat? What does the pasuk want to tell us? Rashi explains, Yosef made himself like he has a gavia, he has a becher. How do you say a becher in English? A cup, a kois. He has a kois, and he gives a knock on the kois, and he sees what's going on, and he said like this. He gave a knock on the kois, and he says, Ruvain, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zevulun, they should sit according to the way that I call them out, because that's the way how they were born. That's their ages. And like this, he went down with all of the brothers, and the lashon of Rashi is Hasebu Keseder Hazeh, meaning to say, be massive. He once they used to eat on beds, on couches when they ate. So it was Hasebu Keseder Hazeh. That's how Rashi explains.
What's that, like a leaning?
Yeah, lean. Hasebu, lean Keseder Hazeh in this order, like I said, Reuven first, then Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zebulun. V'chein kilam, that's how he did with all of them. When he reached the name of his brother Binyamin, he said like this, Omar, Ze Eloyem, he doesn't have a mother, Binyamin. Vani Eloyem, I also don't have a brother. So Yeshiv Etzli, he should sit next to me. He should sit next to me. So someone asked once, the Guer of Moshe Feinstein, Zeichet Tzadik Levruche, why does Rashi change the lashon? When he speaks about all the shvatim that he sat them away, he says, I say, lean. He doesn't use the lashon of yeshiva, sitting. He used the lashon of leaning. When it comes to Binyamin, that he sat next to him, he says, Yeshiv Etzli, he should sit next to me. Why doesn't he say, Yosef Etzli, he should lean next to me? For sure, Yosef ate by leaning. He didn't sit, because if Yosef would have sit, everybody would have had chairs. And if he told them they should lean, because that was the way how they were eating once. So he was also leaning. So why shouldn't he say Binyamin also, Yosef Etzli, he should lean? Why does he say Yeshiv Etzli? Now the known Rabbi Moshe Feinstein was a tremendous genius. He knew the whole Torah by heart. So right away on the spot he says, oh, that's the Mari Broin in Hilchas Pesach. The Mari Broin in Hilchas Pesach that the Darkei Moshe brings down the Ramah. And Siman Tov Ayin Beis. What does it say over there? So the seed went and he looked it up. In Hilchas Pesach, Siman Tov Ayin Beis, is Dinei Hasebe, of leaning Pesach Banacht by eating, when you eat the matzah, when you drink the 4 cups, the Arba Koises. So the Mechaber, the Shulchan Aruch brings down the halacha that a Talmid by his Rebbe doesn't make a Sebe. Moire Rabach ka Moire Shemayim, you don't lean when you sit before your Rebbe. So that's why Talmid Eitzel Rabbi ain't Tzorech HaSebe. He doesn't have to make a Sebe. And the Shulchan Aruch goes on and he says like this. That's if he's your Rebbe Mivik. Your Rebbe that he teaches you Torah, a Rebbe Mivik. If he is not your Rebbe Mivik, you're allowed to make a Sebe next to him. But if this Rebbe is a Talmid Chochem Muflik Bedoiroi, a known a Poisek Ador, like Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Rav Elyashiv, anyone, there were so many big Gedolim, Poiske Ador, that the whole Klal Yisrael is considered like their Talmidim. They are the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael. Even though he didn't teach you anything yet, you don't make a Saibah for such a Rebbe, because it's considered Talmud Eitzel Rabbi, if it's a Talmud Chacham Muflik B'doirei. All right, now comes down the Ramah and the Arke Moshe, and in the Aguas of the Ramah and Shulchan Aruch, and it brings down from a Sefer Mari Broine, that case is only if you eat on one table with the Rebbe. But if you eat on a separate table, the Rebbe on one table, even though it's in the same hall, in the same dining room, you're allowed to make a Saibah. It's only if you sit on the same table. Finish, that's the halacha. Now comes Rabbi Feinstein and he says very gishmak. The pasuk says over here, before Yosef made the order how they should sit, while it says like this: Vayusimi loy levadoy v'lehem levadom v'lamitznim oichlem itoy levadom. They made over there 3 tables: a table for Yosef alone, the Mishnah Lamelech, a separate table for his brothers that they were the guests for this Suda, and a separate table for the Mitzim that they were in the house of Yosef. All of the Mesharsim that he had, they should have a separate table, because the Mitzim didn't want to sit on one table together with the Ivrim, so they knew that those are Ivrim, so they wanted to eat on a separate table. So you see over here that Yosef was on a separate table and his brothers on a separate table. Now Yosef was a Mishnah Lamelech, so for sure they had to be misnayik, they had to, how do you call it? You have to be, the behavior with Yosef had to be appropriate, like you do for a Mishnah Lamelech. So if we see a Shulchan Aruch that by a Talmud Chacham Miflik B'doirei, you don't make a Saibah, you don't lean. So for sure, when it comes to the Mishnah Lamelech Yosef, for sure you can't make a Saibah over there if you sit, but that's only if you sit on the same table. So that's gewaldig, because the Ache Yosef, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, they were on a separate table. They were able to make a Saibah, to lean, because the Mari Broine says that you're only not allowed to when you're at the same table. But because Binyamin is his brother and he says he doesn't have a mother, he should come next to me, he has to say, Yeshiv Etzli. I could lean, but he can't lean because he's on the same table together with me, so he has to sit. So it's mamish meduyik the halacha of the Mari Broine, meaning to say, Riva Shimon Levi Yehuda Seibu Keseder Hazeh. They could lean on this order because they are on a separate table. But Binyamin, he calls him up, he should sit next to him. Yeshiv Etzli, he should sit next to me. Shouldn't be leaning. Yeah, so it's a shtikl mekor even to the Mari Broine. Vayar Yaakov ki yesh sheva b'Mitzrayim. When he sends down his children, Yaakov saw that there's sheva b'Mitzrayim. Pshat of sheva means tvua. Tvua is called shever. Yeah, like we see the whole time, he tells them you should bring on shever, ravo in beteichem, tviyah, in order to break the hunger. So shever is called tviyah. But Rashi brings another pshat that shever also means a hofening, a tikva, hope. Because if you write it with a siyan, sever, sivroy al Hashem aleikov, your hope is to Hashem. Yaakov saw Baruch HaKodesh that there's hope to find Yosef now in Mitzrayim, and that's why he sent down his children. Ki yesh shever b'Mitzrayim, it's like sever. He saw a tikva, a hope to find Yosef now in Mitzrayim. Comes the Heilige Moshe Rebbe in the Sefer Divrei Yisrael, and he brings it down by the pasuk shever tachat shever, that it says in the Torah, if someone does something bad to a friend, you have to give him a punishment. So whatever he did to his friend, you do to him. Ayin tachas ayin. If you knocked him out an eye, so you have to, Chazal say you don't do it to him, but you have to take the money that it's worth. Shein tachas shein. So it says shever tachas shover. If you broke someone's leg or another one of his organs, I don't know, shever, so he also he has to pay for it. Tachas shever, he has to, you have ka'asher Yitain ish mumba misoy kein yenosim boy. Whatever you did to your friend, I have to do to you. So he says, we always know in Chazal that parnose comes if a yid has a minna. Ein Yisrael lezoinen elo beschisu amina. That's what the Gemara says. Klal Yisrael lezoiche to have parnose in the schus of their Emuna Bashem. Emuna opens up the Sha'are Parnose, brings down the Shefa by having Emuna ibitochem Bashem. So he says, Shever, that's Tvua. Parnose comes Tachas Shever, according to your hope to Hashem. Shever has 2 definitions. It could mean Tvua, that means Tvua you call in English, how do you call Tvua? There were no
Like,
grains.
yeah.
Grains, that's called
It's like
Tvua.
wheat. I don't know.
Wheat, yeah, but there's
Grains,
but it's
like,
Chameshes
yeah.
Mine Dogon. So Shever comes, Tachas Shever, according to the Betochen that you have in Hashem, the hope, and the Tikva that you have to Hashem, that's how the Parnose comes. One small word on the Parsha.
And that was the semel that Yosef was sending back to his Abba?
No, I don't know. Why do you think that was the no, Yaakov had already. He saw B'riach HaKodesh before he sent down the children that there is hope in Mitzrayim.
Right.
And that's why he sent them down.
Right.
You want to say that Yosef, by sending them, when he's returning the Shever, he's also, he's sending back hope. Could be. Now, when Pari calls up Yosef from the Tvise, and he tells him, I heard about you wonderful things, that you know how to be poiser, how to interpret a cholam. Yeah, that's how you say poiser? Interpret? How to...
No.
Poiser.
Poisik is to...
Poiser.
Oh, poiser.
To be poiser a cholam. Yeah, how to interpret a dream. I heard about you that you're gewaldig. And Yosef answers, Bil Odoi. Oh, it's not my chokhmah, Rashi says. It's not my wisdom at all. Elokim yanet shloim paro. If Hashem is going to put me in the right words, I'm going to know what to say. The Pasuk says in Tehillim, Eidis b'Yehoisef, Somoi b'tzeisa al eretz Mitzrayim, Sfas lo yadati eshma. We say it by davening, by the Shishal Yom every Wednesday. And that Pasuk refers regarding Rosh Hashanah, that Chazal say that Yosef came out from Tvise, from the Beis HaKela. It was on Rosh Hashanah. And Hashem took him out, Rosh Hashanah, from Mitzrayim. Eidis b'Yehoisef, b'tzeisa al eretz Mitzrayim. And the Pasuk goes on and he says, Sfas lo yadati eshma. And the Pasuk definition is what the Gemara says, that night of Rosh Hashanah, when Yosef was going to be released of the Tvise, Malach Gabriel came to him that night and he taught him all Shivim Lashon, all 70 languages. And because before he didn't know 70 Lashon, he knew Lashon Kodesh, but he didn't know the 70 Lashon. It's because in order he should be able to become a Mishnah Lamelech, he needed to know all 70 Lashon. Now that day he was called to Paroi, and he was posted the Cholim, and Pari saw what a Chochem he is, Ein Chochem Benoven Kemoicha. So that was when he made the Mishnah Lamelech. Stam b'Mamar HaMuzgir. How do you say Mamar HaMuzgir?
Side note?
Side note. I want to say that if we think about this, Yosef was already at Tvise for 12 years. And that Rosh Hashanah Banacht, he dreams that a Malach comes to him and teaches him all 70 languages, and the Malach tells him, you should know your Yeshia is coming, your salvation is on the way. Probably this day you're going to be taken out of prison and you're going to become the Mishnah Lamelech. Now Yosef wakes up and he starts talking to all of the others in the Tvise, all the Asirim, all the, how do you call it, Asirim in English? All the prisoners. He starts talking Portuguese, Japanese, Puerto Rican, all French, all languages, and they don't understand the word that he's talking. And he tells them, I know all 70 languages. And then he tells them, what's about me becoming Mishnah Lamelech in a few hours of now? What do you say to this? Probably all the people thought about him, Nebuch. What the prison could do to a person after 12 years.
Right, he's talking
it was what,
funny words.
This is what happened. And Lamaisa, this was what happened. So we see Yeshua Hashem keheref ayin. A Yid has to have a minute betuchen that the Yeshua could come in a split second. Yeshua Hashem keheref ayin mamish. That was by Yosef. Now, when Yosef comes to Paroi, he says, Bilodoi, Elokim yanet shloim Paroi. So he says, again, to this pasuk, Eidis b'Yehoisef Somoi b'tzeisa al eretz Mitzrayim, Sfas lo yadati eshma. The pshat is, he didn't know any languages, and now Malach Gabriel came and he taught him all 70 Lashon. Sfas lo yadati, I didn't know any Sfas, any language, but now eshma, because Hashem wanted him to become Mishnah Lamelech. That's l'choyde the pshat. But there's a lot of pshatim. I once thought maybe we could say another pshat. What made Paroi understand that Yosef's Pisroin, that the interpretation that he gave is the truth one? Paroi saw it right in the beginning. Why? All other Chartimim, he called them up and he told them his Cholim, and every one of them had right away a definition. Sheva bonois, Sheva bonim, Sheva ayorois, milchomis, you're going to win, you're going to lose, you're going to have children, you're going to lose them, whatever. Right? On the spot, they had Pisroinis. And he asked them, do you know? Sure, I know. I'm a Pesach Olim. Yosef was the only one. Bilodo, I don't know anything. Elokim Yana. If Hashem is going to put me in the words, I'm going to know what to say. Pari was very taken by those words. A person is not a big shot. He doesn't take the credit for himself. So maybe that's the pshat. Eidis be Yosef, Somai B'Tzeisal Eretz Mitzrayim. What was the Eidis for Paroi? Sfas lo yadati. This language of saying lo yadati, I don't know. Eshmo, it's the first time that I hear such a language. Till now, whoever I asked, all of them are knowers. He knows, that one knows. The first time that I hear a language, sfas, it's another type of a language. Lo yadati, a person that says, I don't know. Only Hashem could help me. This is what I heard now the first time, and that made Paroi understand that this is the right guy. Now we're going to speak a little bit about Yom Tov Chanukah. We see regarding the Yom Tov of Chanukah, the Sforim HaKadosh bring down that usually Chazal say the Shechina doesn't come down lower than 10 tefachim from the karka. The Shechina doesn't come down lower than 10 tefachim. By Chanukah lights, the mitzvah lekatchila is it should be lemata ma'asar tefachim, because Neiris Chanukah is so holy that the kedusha of Neir Chanukah lights up even the darkest places. Usually, most of the Yomim Tovim are in the beginning of the month, or at least in the middle of the month. No Yom Tov starts in the end of the month, when the moon is already very small and the darkness is starting to become thicker and thicker. The only Yom Tov that's in the end of the month is the Yom Tov of Chanukah. Starts at Chofai. But on the other hand, it goes in to the beginning of the next month. It goes into Rosh Chodesh Teves to show even it's very, very dark, but the light comes back. It starts again, a new Yisrael Nimshali Lelevona. But we see it's also usually mitzvahs we are mekayim during the day. Most mitzvahs, from the Alois HaShachar, from the Netzach Hama till Tzeis HaKechovim. This mitzvah is dafke meshetishka achama. Even the first half of the night, that's even more dark than the second half after Chatzos. And also, usually mitzvahs you do at home. The mitzvahs of Ner Chanukah is lekatchila al Pesach beiso mibachutz. You do it in the street, in the Rishus Harabim. That's a place where the klippos go around, and the chitzonim. It's not the Rishus HaYochid where a person is alone. All of this is showing us Neiris Chanukah has a tremendous kedusha. It has a tremendous light. It could light up the end of the month, the beginning of the night. Under 10 tefachim, lamata masar tefachim, in Rishus Harabim, everything could become lighted up by the Neiris of Chanukah. Now we also have to see when you light up, not only to light up your own house and your own neshama. Everyone's neshama is a neir Hashem nishmas odom, nefesh riach and neshama. You have to see to light up the neshamas, the houses of your children, Fashteitzach, your wife and children, and all friends. That's why lekatchila we have to light the menorah in a certain way that it should be pursued manisa. People should see, and if you can't light al Pesach beisim mebachitz, you light by the window. Other people should see. It should be pursued manisa. Show your light that you have of the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah should go. It should demonstrate outside also, and it also shows another ikida that you also have to. We also see that there is a halacha that if a person doesn't have alone a menorah, he's not at home, he doesn't have someone lighting the menorah for him, if he sees someone else's menorah, he could also make a bracha. He can't make lahatlik, but he could make the bracha of sha'asa nisim. And what's the pshat? Because everybody is connected. From the other person's light, you could also get lit up. You could get lit up by the light of someone else. Now this is a gewaltige Sache to use the Yom Tov of Chanukah to light up your own neshama, other one's neshama. It's like a wake-up call. Not in sense That means lo lechinam. It's not that the Gemara Chasima says from the Ariya Kudish is Chanukah. So is Chanukah is the Gemara Chasima. And last week in Parashat Vayishev we read Aftoire im Yitzchok shoifer be'ir va'om lo yacherodu. That reminds us of the mitzvah of Tkiyah Shofar. The Rambam explains in Hilchos Shofar that even though the mitzvah of Shofar Rosh Hashanah is a Gezeres HaKosif, but there's also a remez that we can understand. What's the remez of Tkiyah Shofar? Uri yeshene mishenaschem. Sleepers, wake up from your deep sleep. If you are in a very, very deep sleep, wake up. It's a wake-up call, the Shofar. Now, we're already a few months in the winter. Sometimes people could get a little bit like there are some Balei Chaim, I think maybe a bear. They sleep through the whole winter.
Hibernate.
How do you call it?
Hibernate.
So we shouldn't be Chaz v'Shalom sleeping through the whole winter. The Chanukah comes in, lights up, and it's like a wake-up call. And we know that the Gemara Chasime is always Chanukah. So even after Hashem gave us Rosh Hashanah and Yom HaKodesh, we have now Zois Chanukah. It should be like the Bnei Yissaschar says, a choisam b'toy choisam, and not a choisam. And that should make it even stronger that the Shana Toiva and Mesika that we had already from Rosh Hashanah Yom HaKodesh should be fulfilled in Ganzen. And that's like a wake-up call. And I once read the story that Rav Yitzchok Silverstein, Shlita, says that there was a Yid that he used to come to him every year on a certain day, and he used to sit at his home and cry the whole day. And he used to say, it's my fault that my brother was killed. It's my fault. I didn't wake him. And he was crying, and Yitzchok tried the whole time to, how do you call it, to be in Menachem. How do you say? Comfort him. Console him. Counsel him, comfort him. Should be a Menachem, that it's not his fault. That was the Gezeire. And the story was like this. He went through the concentration camps together with his brother, and they slept in the barracks where they used to sleep. Every morning there was a wake-up call, alarm at 4:30. You had to get up, and by 5 o'clock you had to be standing in the lines. Now people went to sleep exhausted after working so hard, but the Ratzon, the will of living was so strong that they were able to rip themselves out of their beds, if you could call it beds, those shelves, and get out of the bed in the morning at 4:30 in the morning. One night, his brother told him before they went to sleep, I'm not normally exhausted today. Not normally. I'm very afraid I won't hear the wake-up call in the morning. Please, when you get up at 4:30, jump out of bed and come and wake me, schlep me out of bed, because otherwise I won't get out of bed, and I'm very afraid what the Nazis used to do, that if anyone who didn't come out, they used to go around with their weapons and used to shoot him and finish. If you stayed asleep, you should stay sleeping. Now, it came in the morning, 4:30. He was so exhausted, he woke up, He woke up the brother at 4:30. He was like in a daze. He was still in the middle of his sleep, but he jumped out of bed and he went to the line to line up. And it was already a few minutes before 5, and now his mind came back to him, and he came to himself and he reminded himself, Oy vay, I forgot to wake my brother. And he started thinking, can I still make it to run back and wake him and get back to it on time? He made the cheshbon, no way. If I go out of this line, I'm going to be shot on the spot. He was hoping that his brother made it. After they finished the line-up call, he started looking for his brother. He went back to the barrack, and he finds him sleeping with another few Yidden, sleeping forever. They were shot already. And at that day, every year he used to come and cry to Rav Yitzchok Silverstein, it's my fault, I killed my brother, Nebuch. And he used to comfort him, you're not shildik, it's not your fault. And that's the truth. You were alone, you didn't remember about it, and you didn't go. It was Pashit, you didn't remember, you were so exhausted. But he used to say it. A Yid should say to himself, a person should see, he shouldn't be at fault for not waking up his brother. There's sometimes a brother, another Yid, that he could wake him. Could be if he is very schwach in Yiddishkeit, he needs Chizuk, he needs an injection, and even someone that's good could use a little bit more of an injection, should become even better. Don't let him sleep. Use it. Use the koiches. Use the power that Hashem gave you. The koiches that you have. Comfort someone. Give him a good word, a tap on his shoulder, say him how good he is, light him up. So you shouldn't feel afterwards at fault. That's the avodah of Chanukah. Light up your own neshama, your wife and children, your einiklech, the mishpacha, and spread the light to others. Light up the hearts of other Yiddish kinder. And we see the Rambam says that the mitzvah of Neiras Chanukah is a mitzvah chavive. It's very, how you say chavive? Dear. It's a very dear mitzvah. We love it, and that's why Yom Tov Chanukah is a Yom Tov of Chinuch Abonim. The Gemara says, a rogel bener, someone that's mekayim the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah, havin yolei bonim talmidei chachomim. He's going to have children talmidei chachomim. And what's the pshat? Maybe, I think, it's very poshut. The best thing for Chinuch Abonim is when children see the parents doing a mitzvah with love, with inspiration, with a chavivis, because then they see what's the truth, what my parents want. My father could be at work, he could make money, he could be busy with a lot of things. But where do I see his love? Where do I see what's there to him when it comes to a mitzvah, and especially when it comes to the mitzvah of Chanukah? We do it with so much, it's such a mitzvah chavive, and that's what we are being mechanech in the children and putting into them, and like lighting up their neshama to know that chaviv is a mitzvah, enjoying a mitzvah, dancing by a mitzvah, being full of life and smiling and enjoying every second when you stand by the Chanukah Lech. If you could be there for half an hour, singing by the Chanukah Lech, that's what you put into the children, and that's how you zoiche the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah, you zoiche to bonim tamid chachomim when they see the chavivas mitzvah by the parents. But we have to take from this for the whole year. Whatever mitzvah we do, we should try the most possible to do it with a chavivas mitzvah. One more zach that we see by the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah, the koyach of Chachomim. Chachomim, they gave us the mitzvah of Chanukah. It's one of the 7 mitzvahs, the Rabbanon, that Chachomim made for Klal Yisrael, mitzvahs Neiras Chanukah, and we see the koyach of Chachomim, and that's also what you have to put into the children, obeying to Das Torah, listening to Das Torah, the koyach of Chachomim. And I want to say something. I saw in a sefer, Birchas Hoirai. This sefer wrote the Yida Williamsburg. His name is Rabbi Yosef Schlesinger. He wrote a sefer Birchas Hoirai, and I saw over there on Chanukah he says a gewaltige Sach. He says the Yevunim, the Gemara says that when they came into the Beis Hamikdash, they took all of the shemen and they were metame. How do you say metame?
Defiled it. Depurified. Made it impure.
Oh, impure. That's easier for me to say. The other words I don't know. They impured all of the shemanim. They made it tameh. Pashtus, we learn why. Because they didn't want that the Yidden should be able to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Adlokas HaMenorah. If they wanted, they shouldn't be able to be Mekayim. Take all of the oil and break them. Make a big fire, burn them. Why were they metame? It seems that they let them. They just made sure that every pach of shemen should be impure, should be tome. Till they found the pach echot, Toisus brings down in Masechta Shabbos, they found it like digged. It was hidden under the earth, and they digged it up, and that was where they found it. Because Toisus brings down that in those days already, it could be, there was after the Gezaira, the Chachamim made the Gezaira, that if a goy, if a nochri is even just moving a pach shemen, it gets a timah like a timah zov, like a timah derais. It was a timah midrabunon, but Chazal were goyzer al maga nochri, and not only when he touches the oil alone, only a timah, even he just moved it, hesed, that's called tumas hesed, it should be tomeh. So this pach shemen, they knew for sure no one even touched it, and no one even moved it. It was sealed with chasoma shel kohen godel, so no one touched it in the inside, and it was hidden. It was dogged in the earth, so they knew no one touched it, no one even moved it. So why did they do it? Says the Birchas Hoirai gewaltig. The Yevonim really wanted to break the neshamas of Klal Yisrael. We see that they didn't kill Yidden. Their whole milchama, their whole war was to fight with the neshamas of Klal Yisrael, with the ruchnius of Klal Yisrael. They wanted you should stay alive, but mix Chaz v'Shalom with the goyim. What keeps us back from Chaz v'Shalom? We shouldn't be
mixed with the goyim, hivdelonim in atoyim, the gezayres, the gedorim is yugim that Chazal gave us. That's why Chazal were always, in the Moshel, the Gemara says, why were Chachomim goyzer on yayin esech? Because they saw, if you go and you drink with the goy wine, you get close to him, and after a while you could maybe marry his daughter. Kozru al yeinam, mishim b'nei seyam. Then they made even a gezayre, you shouldn't eat pas akim, and then even the shemen of the akim. It was a few gezayres how Chachomim saw how you have to make gedorim es yugim. The Yevonim understood this. Yovon is there to pull you down. That's why, how do you write Yovon? Yud, a Vav goes down more, and the Nun goes down even more. They want to schlep you down. Tovati biyevein metzila, David HaMelech says, I was sinking in a deep mud. Biyevein metzula, they want to pull you down. So their koyach wanted beikir to break the power of the Chachomim. So they were very smart, the Yevonim, he says. They knew if they're gonna burn all the shemen, break all the shemen, there won't be shemen. You're not gonna win afterwards the milchama. They're gonna come into the Beis Hamikdash. There won't be any shemen. All right, so they won't be able to put on the menorah till they're gonna have good shemen. Rather, they said differently. Let's leave the shemen. Let's make a tumah, only a tumah d'Rabbanan. We're gonna just touch it. Just the tumah d'Rabbanan. Now, Klal Yisrael are gonna come back. They're gonna want to be mekayim the mitzvah. Now, tumah hutre b'tzibur. Really, even a tumah d'oraisa, if you have no braida, you want to do a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah for the tzibur, so it's mutter. Like a korban Pesach, ivroiv of Klal Yisrael as tumah. You don't make a Pesach sheni, you make it on the first Pesach. Tumah hutre b'tzibur. But Yidden didn't want it should be betumah. But they told the Yevonim, if we're going to make it only a tumah d'Rabbanan, so for sure they're going to give and they're going to say, all right, in this case, we can't, it's only a tumah d'Rabbanan. We want to make the mitzvah of adlokas hamanoire, menatoire. It's not only tumah hutre b'tzibur. It's tohir menatoire. It's pure. It's just a gezeire b'Rabbanan. And that's how they're going to start weakening down the koyach of the Chachomim. Now when Hashem helped, and we were menatzayich, and we were zoiche to find the pach shemen, and that pach burned for 8 days to show Klal Yisrael, no, the koyach of Chachamim is strong. So even more, then we got more of the Chachamim. We got the new mitzvah of Chanukah, that's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, that they added up to show us what's the koyach of Chachamim. And I want to finish regarding this with a word of the Pe'er Yisrael. The Pe'er Yisrael of Behush says the gewaltige Sach. The only mitzvah that we do on the left side is Chanukah. Usually we know the Yamin is Choshev. The left is always Shvacher. Why Chanukah is Davke? Oh, Tefillin, he is right. But Tefillin, the Kshir is with the right hand. Ikshartam is with the right hand, the Kshire, and you put it on the left hand, Yat Keo. But usually, you would always do everything by the Yamin. And why did Chazal make that the menorah you put on the left side? Now the Gemara says the reason, because you should be mesuvev b'mitzvahs. So you have the mezuzah on the right side, and you have the menorah on the left side, and you stand in the middle, so you're surrounded with mitzvahs, mesuvev b'mitzvahs. Even the oil Hashemayim, the Michael Apter says that Chanukah brings down the oil of Mashiach, Orachti Neil Mashiach. So he says Mashiach is Rosh Tevis, Mezuzah Yumin, Chanukah Smoil, Mashiach. Mezuzah Yamin, Chanukah Smoil brings down Mashiach. Orachti Neil Mashiach. We bring down the oil of Mashiach, the core of Mamish, by doing the Chanukah left. So the Gemara says like this. In Sheiltis, he even adds more. He says, Mezuzah miyamin, Chanukah mismoil, e balabais be'emtza betalas mitziyetzes. The balabos is standing in the middle with a talis. Oh, I'm also sitting with a talis now. E balabais be'emtza, he means the talis cotton that you go. Everybody has a talis cotton. So he's surrounded with mitzvahs. Comes the Pe'er Yisrael and he says, it's a very good svara. But this svara is good. After you decided you want to put the menorah on the left side, we find a good svara. But the katchila for sure, you should have put the menorah on the right side, because always the yamin is more choshev than the smoil. And if you want to need the svara, he says, I could give you a svara on the opposite way. We see a lot of times in Gemara a svara, hoilvis avet beichoda mitzvah, leavet beinam a mitzvah achrite. Because we did already with this one mitzvah, let's do with this another mitzvah. Hoilvis avet beichoda mitzvah, le'evet beinam a mitzvah achrita. So adrabah, the yamin has already the mezuzah. It should have another mitzvah. It should also have the menorah. So he says the one a very starke word. The Gemara says, "V'tzivonu la'adlik ner Chanukah." Hashem was us mitzvah ve'echem tzivonu. Where did Hashem tell us la'adlik ner Chanukah? The Gemara answers, there's a pasuk, "Lo'isosru min hadover asher yagidu lecho yom nismoil." That pasuk refers to Chachomim. You should listen and you should obey what Chachomim tell you. Yeah, whatever they say, you left and right,
Right and left.
Right and left. Lo yisasim nadover. That's the place where it's vitzivonu. And Chazal explained that pasuk. Afilu omer lechu al yemin shi smoil, al smoil shi yemin have a shemei aloi. Even he tells you something that it looks to you so funny. It's clear by you that this is right, and Chachom tell you no, it's left. Or the opposite, you have to listen to the Chachomim. So that's the pshat. We always have to do a mitzvah on the right side. Usually the yamin is cheshevin. Chazal wanted to show us, you're going to light the Chanukah. Where's the Mekoir? Oh, from the pasuk Lo Sosi. What does it say in that pasuk? Obey and listen to what Chachumim tell you. Yom and Ismoil. Even when he tells you that left is right, you have to listen. So Chazal come and tell you, come on, now the left is going to be right. Put it on the left side and that's the right. That's the koyach of Chacham that we take from the Yom Tov of Chanukah. Hashem should help. Every one of us should take in himself and all of his mishpocha and surroundings. The oil of Chanukah, it should light up our neshomes. We should have all the best, all hashpuas toives, be zoiche to a gemar chasime toive. Everybody should be gesinnt and stark, health, a long life with panose toive. We should be zoiche to serve Hashem. Why? And we started. Rachmon libe boy, Hashem wants our heart. Serve il avdi b'chol avavchem. Amen. Ken yiratzeh.
Amen.